Okay, so let's take a look at how you can export data out of MySQL database. So basically we have multiple options like CSV, JSON and few other, right? So usually the most exported formats are JSON and CSV, right? So we will take a look at them. So first thing, we will try and open MySQL Workbench, right? And if you haven't downloaded it yet, you can go to MySQL, then downloads, then you have community downloads, and where you have community server section, where single install of this would install both MySQL Workbench, shell and server, right? So I have already done that, and as you can see, this is the workbench that you get. Now here, as you can see, I have this local instance with root username, right? So if I click on that, it should take me inside, right? And as you can see, on the left hand side there is a option for administration and then schemas, right? Schemas are basically your database in MySQL, right? So if you want to search for any specific database, you can use this and then check for the database that you want. You have default sys, which is not something I want to use. Then there is also sales and DemoDB, two databases. As you can see, these are the one which I want to use for export, right? So here you see sales database has two tables, people and sale, right? So out of these two, what I want to do is I want to export one of them. So let's first check which option we have. Right click on it, select rows, and here you see that it all shows null, right? So this is not something I want to show because there seems to be corruption while importing the data, right? So let me get rid of this table by clicking on drop down. Now let's take a look at this sale table. Let's select rows, and here see proper data, right? It's basically your labor data is here that has sales details, right? And then we have export option. As you can see, export record set to an external file. Here it gives you option for CSV, HTML, JSON, SQL file, Excel spreadsheet, XML and tag text, right? So if I choose HTML and let's say if I use cell, it will save it there, right? So let's try now find the file, and as you can see, when I open that file, it shows me the table of that data, right? So this table is generated by our MySQL Workbench, right? So as you can see, it will show everything, and this ref signal, which is supposed to be the null value, which I didn't get rid of, right? So everything is properly exported by this export. Now comes MySQL Workbench, right? So here we're coming back again for export, right? So this was HTML export, then you have CSV, JSON, then SQL file, then Excel, XML spreadsheet and regular XML formats, right? So this is one of the one that you get in result grid, right? And there is also one called table data export, and here you see, here you can choose what to import and export, right? So let's say there are some columns that you don't want to view, you can technically take them out, right? And then click next, and you can choose between CSV and JSON. So we'll do that for one of the tables. So let's pick another database where we have decent tables. Let's see, users table, right? And here we have option for our users, simple data, nothing complicated. So we right click, table export wizard, right? And here we can choose the columns to export. Click next, then we have JSON file option. Click browse, and then we choose, let's say, demo export. We save it, right? We have this name over there the moment we choose export, right? And then click next. Click next, and it will export the 400 records. Click finish and find out whether that file exists. Now if we go for open with, say, edit pad, here you can see the JSON file, right? It shows you the data that we just exported. So the data import export wizard have options for JSON. Now what if I want to use data export wizard for sending this export into CSV file? So we change this to comma separated CSV file. So demo CSV export save, right? Field separator comma line separator LF, keep the defaults, then export to local machine, right? Click next, then click next again, and you are ready for exporting those 400 rows, right? So if I double click on this CSV file, it should open in Excel, and here you see your CSV data, right? As you can see, everything is added within same column, which can be pretty tricky to sort out. So you may want to properly filter this data, right? So instead of your semicolon, you can use comma, right? So that's one of the change that we need during the export. So let's do it again. Let's find out if it's clean this time. Let's say comma, so it becomes the right separator, right? Click next and click next, then export, right? Now let's check again, and now you can see the export is done properly. Now that you notice that this particular data export wizard only have options for CSV and JSON, right? So if you want to go for any other format, your option for that will be limited here with result set, right? So you can choose CSV, right? CSV with comma or CSV with semicolon, HTML, JSON, then SQL file. You can try one for SQL file, right? So save this. Let's name the table users, right? Now it's exported. We can look over here, and this file I can open with, let's say, edit pad, and we have the file. Now here you see at the top there is a comment that it is exported from our demodb.users, and up to 1000 rows it can export. It has managed to export properly all the values that we have in our total 400 rows database table. So we have managed to do export for CSV, JSON, HTML, SQL, all from result grid. Also for export wizard, we are limited to CSV and JSON, while result grid gives us more options. So you can use result grid for those operations, like for specific format, right? And it will properly do the export as well. If you want to pick other than CSV, JSON and HTML and SQL, there is also XML. Let's pick that and try and see if it does properly. Save it. Now let me close this, right? Come back, open cell.xml with, let's say, edit pad here, and here you see our data, then the row. You see our column names become our tags, enclosing, right? Everything looks proper here. Now this can be imported in some of the data tools which accept XML and convert them into SQL table. So that's one more option. So what we can do for export, so first thing, we can use our tables option within Workbench, that table data export wizard, where we have option for CSV, JSON. Finally, once we run select query on entire table, we can export that data into CSV, HTML, JSON, SQL insert statement, Excel spreadsheet, XML, the normal XML, and MySQL formatted XML, and also text file. So these are some of the options that you have with your MySQL Workbench export capacity.